Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Good evening again. I'm Steve Hensley.
And I'm Olivia Calfee. The ACLU of Kentucky filed a lawsuit yesterday trying to block a portion of Senate Bill 150.
The bill was vetoed by Governor Andy Beshear, but later became law after a veto override by the Republican-controlled Kentucky legislature. Julia Sandor has more from people on both sides of the issue.
The law is supposed to go into effect on June 29th, and so we'll be asking the court to say that on June 29th, kids can continue to get the health care they need and providers can continue to provide that care that they believe is medically necessary without fear of losing their license.
ACLU Kentucky is targeting one part of Senate Bill 150, which bans some gender-affirming care for minors. It involves the sections that ban puberty blockers and hormone therapy, but does not challenge a ban on gender-affirming surgery for minors. The ACLU says the bill violates the U.S. Constitution.
Lawmakers are saying that they're protecting them from a life-changing decision, which is life-changing for the better. Like, we won't be able to see trans kids grow up if we don't have this gender-affirming care.
Issa Leone, Transylvania student and activist, says just 2 years ago, this bill could have negatively impacted her life. The ACLU says that a preliminary injunction could help. But David Walls with the Family Foundation has been advocating for SB 150 all session long. He says this lawsuit underscores the need for protecting children.
In the context of SB 150, the General Assembly, Kentuckians and supporting their members in the General Assembly made an emphatic statement that we do not want to see children harmed from these procedures.
While the controversial legislation continues to be a topic of conversation across the Commonwealth, the ACLU says they believe they have winning arguments.
Now, we have reached out to both the House and Senate majority for comment on the lawsuit. The Senate majority says they do not comment on active litigation.
Continuing to see blue sky, just a few fair weather clouds out there this afternoon as we head into the evening. Looks pretty nice. We'll continue to see that through the next little bit. 66 from our Buffalo Mountain camera, 67 from London Corbin Airport. Watching though, notice over here a few more high clouds starting to work in onto an otherwise beautiful blue sky. Temperatures warmer in the Cumberland Valley, 70 Jacksboro and in Harlan. Everybody else middle and upper 60s, few lower 60s. As you head over toward the Big Sandy. We'll continue to watch those temperatures slowly drop tonight as we watch a few more of those clouds work in. Your forecast first, heading through the evening, temperatures mid-60s down into the mid-50s as we head to bed tonight. Olivia, I'll have more details on when we see a return to some more spring-like weather in a few minutes.
All right, Evan, thank you. For more than 40 years, the Apple Shop building has been a cornerstone of Main Street in Whitesburg. But after its entire first floor was destroyed in the July floods, the group is contemplating leaving its signature building. Apple Shop Finance Director Daryl Royce says the building sits 8 feet below the floodplain, and the threat of another devastating flood looms over the current location.
We're exploring all options at this point because we're cognizant that this building is on the river and that it probably will flood again at some point in the future. And so we're doing our due diligence and trying to figure out what the best options are for the organization as it moves into the future.
Royce says Apple Shop is committed to Letcher County and no decisions regarding the building's future are likely to be made until next month. We will have more from Whitesburg tonight at 11.
University of Kentucky student A.J. Miller was trying to study abroad in Russia this year, but that was halted by the war in Ukraine. Months later, his family home in Breathitt County was destroyed by 8 feet of water from last summer's historic flooding. Going into his last year of college was looking rough. A home destroyed and the thought of furthering his Russian studies on hold.
Thought about giving up at that moment, but picked myself up. I'm kind of proud of myself for that.
Despite his obstacles, Miller is set to graduate from UK this weekend. He says he would like to work in immigration services. He also says his family is building a new home in eastern Breathitt County. We'll have much more of his story tonight at 11. After paying the ultimate price, 4 local police officers will be remembered and honored in Washington, D.C. for years to come, and their friends, colleagues, and family will now get to make that trip.
WYMT's Jordan Mullins has more on how a community has come together to ensure 2 departments have the opportunity to respect their fallen officers at National Police Week.
In June 2022, 3 officers and a K-9 were killed in a shooting in the Allen community. Nearly 9 months later, 14-year-old Olivia Tussey wanted to make sure officers in her hometown got to make the trip to Washington, D.C. for National Police Week.
Olivia Tussey was raising money for our law enforcement to go to D.C. for Police Week. During that time, they're going to honor our fallen officers.
Now, the Floyd County Community Foundation has pitched in and helped Olivia and the 2 departments meet their goal, donating $10,000.
We just wanted to add to Police Week and remember what happened last summer. And it was tragic. It was truly tragic.
For the officers, simply attending is an honor.
It means the world to, just to be able to be a part of that and to attend, and, when they're calling those names off and putting those names on that memorial.
But to know the names, William Petrie, Ralph Frazier, and Jacob Chaffins will be remembered.
The way to memorialize them and let them live forever is to etch their name in stone, and every year we'll go down and show our support, and the families will too, and go down and spend their time in that Police Memorial Week and pay tribute to them.
The ultimate way to ensure their legacy and sacrifice is remembered across the nation. In Prestonsburg, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Officials say Floyd County Sheriff's Deputy Oliver Little, who died in November 2021 due to complications with COVID-19, will also be added to the National Fallen Officers Memorial in D.C. K-9 Drago will also be remembered in another ceremony during Police Week.
Pepsi and Pikeville Walmart joined forces today to celebrate the forces that protect the city. The First Responder Appreciation Lunch brought firefighters, police officers, medical professionals, and more to the Walmart grocery entrance for a day of celebration. Pepsi sales representative Sam Smith planned the event, saying it was a way to bring everyone together in a time where unity is needed.
All you see is shootings and people fighting against people. It's nothing like it used to be. Neighbors helping neighbors is what we need to get back to. That's how it was when I grew up, and that's what we want to do, bring the police together, law enforcement, first responders, nurses, doctors.
Smith says Pepsi and Walmart just wanted to celebrate the folks who serve people every day and may not always get the recognition for their work. The Harlan County community is mourning the loss of a longtime educator and artist.
WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us how Bob Howard was a light in the world for so many people.
A Harlan County native, Bob Howard graduated from Everett's High School in 1970. After college, Howard became a coal miner, but once the coal business started slowing down, he started to look for other careers. That was when his teaching career began.
I knew Bob from way back, and I knew he had art talent. So I told the board member at the time, Mr. Coleman, that we need to get him in as an art teacher at Everett's.
After 18 years of teaching art classes and 10 years of directing athletics, the position for principal of Everett's High School opened, and board members knew Howard would be the person to hire.
I don't think Bob Howard ever met a stranger, and he worked with the community very good, and he involved the community. When there's a project going on or some kind of school event, he made sure the community was involved.
A few years later, 3 schools were consolidated into Harlan County High School. Board members knew who the school's first principal would be.
After assessing all the candidates, and we had a lot of good quality candidates, there was one that stood out beyond all the rest, and that was Bob Howard.
Howard put in work beyond principal duties, even using his artistic talents to build a hillside bear paw made of coal. He also spent many evenings cheering on his students.
He was the biggest cheerleader that we had here at the school when he come in. And he did help bring the community together, I feel like, and made this a very good school to start out with.
Even after Howard retired from the school system, he continued to connect with teachers and students until the day he died. In Harlan County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
The funeral and visitation for Howard will be held at Everett's Funeral Home on Saturday, May 6th. The visitation will be at 12 p.m. and the funeral will follow at 3 p.m. Bob Howard was 70 years old.